Good morning, everybody. Paramount Investigations. Hope everybody had a great holiday, Thanksgiving break. I know I sure did. Got to spend a lot of good time with the family and reminiscing and just, going over how grateful we were to be with one another. So we had a good holiday here in our house. I hope you did too. Hope you got to spend quality time with your family members, your loved ones, and ate like kings, right? So yeah. So hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I know I sure did. So let's get right into it. Tales from the Driver's Seat, episode 6, fraud investigations. One that I've been wanting to touch on for a good minute here. Fraud investigations. What is fraud investigations? And how does a private investigator help and assist in a fraud investigation versus contacting law enforcement? So there's different types of fraud investigation, right? We have corporate fraud, we have employee fraud, we have identity theft fraud, we have scam fraud, we have all different forms of fraud. Fraud can be made up of all types of different fraud, financial fraud, anything like that. All types of different fraud is out there. From a civilian, private sector side, if you've been a victim of fraud, whatever it may be, if it's someone hacked your credit cards, or someone hacked your personal accounts and obtained your financial information, that's where a private investigator could come in. If you're not getting the assistance from your credit card companies and their fraud department and division, you have to work with them. You got to give them some time. They, you're not the only victim, right? This is the common thing now with the internet and everybody being out on it. We have cyber thieves that constantly operate from the backside of the computer, if you will, that are constantly looking at ways to defraud you as the citizen through many forms. One of the biggest ones was Amazon. Amazon just had a big scam going on. Looked like an Amazon webpage, right? You clicked on it and it took you to what looked like Amazon. And it said you had to validate your account information. Please put in your name, number, all of that, and verify with your credit card on file. Well, as soon as you did that, boom, that information got released, right? Went to whoever the scammer is, the thief. They got all your information, and then when you were done inputting that information, the link directed you right back to Amazon. So it made it look very, very legit. So that's where private investigators come in, right? Yes, there's law enforcement that are dealing with it, trying to track these organizations. And I shouldn't say not all law enforcement, only your bigger cities, your bigger departments. Obviously in the federal government, there are divisions that are, excuse me, not the federal government, but within federal law enforcement, like the FBI and all that, there are certain divisions that specialize in consumer theft and things like that. So from a private investigator's side, and when you look at it on the scope of the big picture here, we're kind of the little guy, if you will, that starts the initial investigation. So when a consumer or a client comes to us and says, hey, I think I've been a victim of identity theft, or hey, can you help me out? How am I going to, catch these people? I don't really know where my card got jeopardized or my financial information got jeopardized, but I've been victimized. I've lost thousands of dollars, or I fell to a scam of, the old Zimbabwe one where you send me, $5,000 to unlock my $500,000, and I'll give you 450,000 of the money, and I just need 50,000, but I need 5,000 to unlock it. That whole scam thing. So that was going on several years ago, and I see it still popping up from time to time. That thing still, I get it in my junk email boxes every once in a while. So where do we, as the investigator, intervene and start helping our clients in our industry, right? Why aren't our clients just going straight to law enforcement? Law enforcement's only going to be able to take a report of it. If they have enough information to go on, they will pursue it at the end of the day. But they're always going to refer it back to, well, you might look at finding a private investigator that might be able to, do a little digging for you. And then that's where we come in. If we can build the case sufficient enough for them and find out where the fraud took place, then ultimately, if we have enough information to give our client and consumer, then we give them our detailed report and our findings, the nature of what we discovered. And then if there's enough, they can take it to their district attorney's office and look at pursuing charges and shutting them down. But before that happens, at that point, law enforcement does have to step in. There has to be an arrest. There has to be that, or someone has to be indicted if you can catch them, right? So fraud investigations, now with the internet and cybersecurity constantly, one of the biggest issues citizens face today. All of us face it. Even the big successful corporations, we see it with Target. We've seen it with other large retailers where their financial information has been jeopardized, their customers. And then we hear about these credit monitoring places that will pick it up and free credit monitoring after the fact. Well, that's great and all, but why aren't we holding our merchants to a higher standard and making sure that the security that they put in place to protect their customers is there? And the answer is they have been. It's just the criminal is always trying to be one step ahead. And that's where you have to employ good loss prevention, risk management departments, private investigators that come in and try to stay one step ahead of the criminal to keep them at bay. Because the problem is it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. Crime will always be there. Dishonesty will always be there, and the consumer will always be the victim. And we just have to stay ahead of the game. You cannot take the back seat and say, well, when it happens, then I'll take care of it. You have to be ahead of the game. So here at Paramount Investigations, we are constantly staying up on the industry standards of what's taking place and happening. So that's it for today. Fraud investigations. Do your research. Do more. If you need to reach me, you know how. nmundy@txparamount.com. Be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn for my professional profile. Until, again, we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.